entertaining, talking sports.
What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video. And today I'm going to actually condense a lot of the topics together, being that I'm going to be live streaming both the playoff games today. I hope you guys swing by for that. One of them will be around 4 o'clock. The other will be tonight around 8. I'll have one Giant rebuttal on for the 8 o'clock game, so it should be a lot of fun. But, in this video, it's going to kind of be a New York Giants news report. I'm going to go over all the major stories. One other video I want to announce, I'll have it up tomorrow. I'm going to talk about I did a pro and con video on Andrew Thomas versus Chase Young when the New York Giants were picking in the second spot around Week 15. I'm going to do the same type of video between Matt Rule and Mike McCarthy, being that those seem to be the two favorites right now, and they're kind of at like polar opposites in terms of their strengths and weaknesses. So I thought it'd be an interesting video to do. It seems like those are the two favorites right now, so I'll have that video up tomorrow, hopefully, for you guys to watch. So I'm looking forward to making that. But like I said, this is going to kind of be a news report. I'm going to jump around. There's a couple of headlines for the New York Giants. Eli Manning won the Bart Starr Award. I'm going to get into further detail on that. I just want to do a quick roundup of what I'm going to talk about. Obviously, there's some interviews today. Eric Bieniemy and Don Wink Martindale, two of them, the better, in my opinion, coaching candidates that are up for this job. So excited to see how that turns out. We're going to recap what the New York Giants did yesterday in interviewing most people's favorite, or a lot of people's favorite, Mike McCarthy, the former Green Bay Packers head coach. We're also going to talk about where McCarthy's headed today on his second interview, and maybe New York Giants fans don't like hearing that. So we're going to get into all of it. The first thing we're going to talk about, like I said, Eli Manning. Listen, Eli Manning's my favorite player of all time. And when I read what the Bart Starr Award was about, it might as well be named the Eli Manning Award because it describes him perfectly as a New York Giant, as a leader on and off the football field. And I'm glad that on his way out as a New York Giant, he got this award because he deserves it. I'm glad he got recognized. And if he does hang him up this year, he's an all-time great Giant. I can't wait to see his name in the Ring of Honor and in Canton one day. Now, will he come back? We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, there's a couple of destinations where he could potentially end up, but I thought that this was a nice parting gift for him to receive. Now, this award, I believe, from what I read, is voted on by the players, not just from the New York Giants, from the league. So it was nice to see the players of the NFL recognize Eli Manning for this award. But this is what the award's about. Let's get into the exact quotes. Got this off of GiantsWire.com. The Bart Starr Award, if presented annually to the player who best exemplifies outstanding character and leadership in the home, on the field, and in the community. Previous winners include Ben Watson, Thomas Davis, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, and Eli's brother, Peyton. And you look at that list, I mean, they're all great guys. I don't know a ton about Ben Watson. Thomas Davis always had a great reputation in the league. Aaron Rodgers, actually, I'm a little surprised, to be honest with you, being that he hasn't had the best reputation the last few years. Drew Brees is a class act, and the same could be said for Peyton. So, was glad to see Eli get this award, much deserved, and we're going to get into further detail here. Each year, we have watched the players identify those who are living up to the expectations set by the award's namesake. Manning is a top-notch player who is truly making a difference in the world, and we are thrilled to recognize his effort and good work. In addition to his leadership in the locker room, Manning has long been community-driven, winning the Walter Payton Man of the Year Award in 2016. He was also nominated for that award a couple of times, I think, before he ended up winning it. I think the year he won it, if I'm not mistaken, he shared it with Larry Fitzgerald, who's another class act, who I'm sure one day could have this award given to him as well. Both those guys are great guys, and well-deserved Eli Manning. Glad to see him get it, and glad to see the players of the league recognize Eli Manning, not just for his play on the field, but for his play off of it. So that was pretty cool to see. Next thing I wanted to go over was Mike McCarthy. And like I said, I'm going to have a video up probably tomorrow talking about the pros and cons to both Mike McCarthy and Matt Rule's potential hire. Mike McCarthy has certainly started to grow on me. A lot of my subscribers have pointed out that maybe I've been a little too harsh on McCarthy, and they bring up a good point. He's had a lot of success in the league. He's not a guy that's going to excite me, but he might be the right hire for the simple reason that he is the safest guy, on the list. He definitely is. He's the most accomplished. He's been a head coach in the NFL for a number of years. You look at the other three assumed favorites, and we're going to get into Martindale and Bieniemy in a second, along with Rule. None of them have been head coaches in the NFL. The only other guy they're going to interview that has any head coaching experience as of right now, they may bring in Garrett, but the only other guy, obviously would be McDaniels, and McDaniels failed miserably in his 2 years with the Denver Broncos. Like I said, McCarthy won a Super Bowl. I don't know his exact record off the top of my head, but it's one of, I believe, the best winning percentages in the history of the NFL. I mean, that's how successful he was as a head coach. Now, a lot of that, like I always say, could be attributed to the quarterbacks he coached, but you got to still give him some credit, no doubt about it. It was a little sloppy at the end between him and Aaron Rodgers. It seemed as if Aaron Rodgers forced him off the team. But, I mean, you even look at the Patriots. I mean, Brady and Belichick have kind of been divided at the end, so I guess at some point you're going to get unhappy with the coach and quarterback almost always. Sometimes you just need a fresh start and a change. It seems like that's what happened in Green Bay. But yeah, McCarthy's certainly a strong candidate and a guy that I'm sure the New York Giants will strongly consider. But today, he's actually headed to the enemy, the Dallas Cowboys. So they'll be interviewing him. I also expect the Dallas Cowboys probably, unless they end up giving him an offer today, to interview some of these other guys. Bieniemy, Martindale, those are strong candidates. We'll have to see if McCarthy takes the job with the Cowboys. My guess is he probably wouldn't. I don't know this for a fact, but I would think the reason he didn't get the New York Jets job is probably because he wasn't willing to cede power like an Adam Gase was, because he was a much more qualified candidate than Adam Gase. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the Jets actually thought Adam Gase was a better hire, was known to be a quarterback guy, but so was McCarthy. McCarthy coming up in the Schottenheimer system. Schottenheimer, very smart offensive mind. Obviously had great success with the Chargers there later in his career. So, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how it plays out, but McCarthy is certainly one of the favorites. We'll see if he's interested in that Cowboys job as he interviews it for it today. The other guys I want to go over is we're going to go over Eric Bieniemy. Eric Bieniemy of the Kansas City Chiefs, a very good candidate, a guy that I did a video on in great detail, a guy I like, a former running back coach. He's going to bring that to the interview, and we'll see what the New York Giants think of him. Obviously, you got Saquon Barkley in the New York Giants backfield, and a lot of Giants fans have been calling for a head coach whose offensive philosophy is to run the offense through the running back. Well, I would assume if you bring in Eric Bieniemy, who's a former running backs coach, he had great success with Maurice Jones-Drew at UCLA. He had great success with Adrian Peterson with the Vikings, great success with Jamal Charles, Spencer Ware, a number of running backs with the Kansas City Chiefs. So I would think he'd run the offense through Barkley if they did hire him, and that may be the attraction that some New York Giants fans have for Bieniemy. And, he's known as a good, strong offensive mind. Obviously, the knock on him is that he doesn't call the plays for the Kansas City Chiefs. Andy Reid still calls the plays, but he is heavily involved with the Kansas City Chiefs, was interviewed by several teams last year. And we'll see if he gets a job this year, and we'll see if it's the New York Giants. Right now, in terms of likeliness to get the job, I'd probably rank him fourth. I'd probably have Martindale above him. I'd probably have McCarthy above him. I'd probably have Rule above him. But he's certainly in the mix after those three. So we'll have to wait and see how it plays out as he interviews today. We'll see how he does. Next guy I want to talk about is Don Martindale. Martindale, Giants bringing in two candidates today. They're bringing in Martindale and they're bringing in, obviously Bieniemy. And Martindale's another guy that it seems like a lot of New York Giants fans have really grown to like over the last few weeks, and he's a guy that has really popped up on my radar. Has a great coaching tree. He's also actually from the Andy Reid coaching tree. He's also coached with Harbaugh throughout his whole career, both college and now in the pros, along with Harbaugh's father. Coached with both Rex and Rob Ryan. Had the number one ranked defense last year as a defensive coordinator. It's still number 3 this year, even with the losses of C.J. Mosley and Zadarius Smith. And they're the best team in football. They're the Super Bowl favorites, and Martindale has a lot to do with that. He brings a lot of experience. He's coached with the Oakland Raiders. Was thought to be a potential favorite to take the head coaching job while he was there. Didn't pan out, but a guy that's been in the league for a long time, has a lot of experience, played the linebacker position in college, would bring some structure. He's an aggressive defensive mind from the book of a Ryan. Him, Rex Ryan, Rob Ryan seem to be best friends. He's called the third Ryan brother, so that's what he'd bring. He'd bring an aggressive defensive mind and probably some structure to this football team. If they were to hire him, I think they'd have to hire a strong offensive coordinator, but he's already hinted at that, so with the guy from LSU. So I think both these guys coming in today are exciting candidates, guys that the New York Giants may very well consider bringing in to man the ship. We'll have to wait and see how it all plays out. Like I said, I'm looking forward to making that video tomorrow, talking about the pros and cons of Matt Rule and Mike McCarthy. Hope you guys check that out. But yeah, that's my Giants recap for the day. I'll be busy today doing the live stream, so hope you pop in for that. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. As always, if you liked what you watched, please subscribe, drop a comment, maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.